Hello. Hi folks, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be exploring the most underrated city in North America, Detroit. We'll be debunking the modern myths behind Detroit and showing you how the city's coming back to life after the downfall of its most prosperous industry. Named one of the world's greatest places of 2022 by Time, Detroit is a melting pot of rich culture and heritage. Known as the birthplace of modern automobile, Detroit has made a name for itself with extraordinary innovation in the world of cars. However, that's all people know it for, and with the sudden crash of the industry in 2008, Detroit's reputation has been tarnished for years. The city's economy suffered severely at the hands of the automotive industry decline, and many businesses and workers struggled to find their foothold in the changing market. As demand decreased for American-made cars, so did the appeal of Detroit as a place to call home. That being said, in recent years, the city has slowly started returning to its former glory with new technological development and emerging businesses bringing a resurgence to the economy. Yet many still seem to be under the impression that Detroit remains in a state of economic decline. To give you a bit of a background, let's talk about how Detroit automotive industry began. The first automobile built in Detroit was a Dyria motor wagon in 1895. But what really kick-started the sector was when Henry Ford test drove his first automobile on the streets of Detroit on June 4, 1896. He soon after established an automobile manufacturing company called the Detroit Automobile Company, which was the first of its kind in Detroit. There, he produced two cars that achieved little to no success, and the company ended up dissolving in 1901. Although the company failed, others took inspiration from Henry Ford. At the time, Detroit was America's 13th largest city with a population of 286,000 and situated right in the center of America's industrial heartland. So many saw the potential in the area as an automotive hub. General Motors, Chrysler, Packard Studebaker, and Hudson Motor Car Company all had production and distribution in Detroit. Still, it wasn't until 1908, with the release of the Ford Motor Company's Model T, did the industry really flourish. Henry Ford, now onto his third company, revolutionized the automotive industry with the innovative and efficient assembly line production methods at Ford Motor Company. This new tactic allowed for the mass production of automobiles, leading to a significant decrease in costs, making vehicles much more accessible to the everyday person. By the 1950s, Detroit was titled the Motor City, and the economy became skyrocketing along with the city's population. Many were relocating to Detroit in pursuit of new employment opportunities, taking advantage of the many open positions in the ever-expanding automotive industry. It seemed as though this was the beginning of something great. In the 1950s, the Packard Motor Company closed its doors permanently after going out of business. Tensions rose between residents due to racial divides, and in 1967, the 5-day 12th Street riot led many residents to move out of Detroit. With thousands injured, arrested and killed, and buildings destroyed, questions were raised about the safety of the city, and many began to reassess their desire to live here. In the 1970s, rising gas prices made it difficult for American car manufacturers to maintain their profitability, as many consumers began turning towards foreign cars from Asia that were more fuel efficient. Detroit's big three, General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford Motor Company, all faced severe losses. The higher quality and lower costs of foreign cars made it impossible for American manufacturers to compete, and the city soon fell into the financial crisis. Many lost their jobs, and by the late 2000s, Chrysler and General Motors filed for bankruptcy. By 2013, the city of Detroit itself was filing for the largest municipal bankruptcy in US history. Now, why is Detroit so underrated? Well, the industrial decline has undoubtedly affected the city drastically, but what many fail to recognize is that Detroit has been making significant progress in terms of redevelopment and economic activities. In August 2022, the Detroit Economic Outlook for 2021-2027 was released, showcasing the economic growth is expected to increase steadily due to the start of major projects such as the Gordie Howe Bridge and the Hudson site. Additionally, other city-led projects such as the Stellantis and the General Motors plant expansions are revitalizing the automotive industry in the city.
This is General Motors office building. They even have their own subway station. And then all these parking lots probably serve the building.
After years of urban decay, the city has begun making significant strides toward recovery. In the early days of the pandemic, the unemployment rate was as high as 40%, and in May 2022, the reported unemployment rate was just 10%, and a drastic improvement. As of November, the unemployment rate dropped to 6.4%, as reported by the National Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the lowest since December 2000. It is clear that the Detroit economy is making a steady comeback, with large-scale companies like Amazon aiming to add at least 1,200 jobs of their Detroit distribution center, along with the implementation of a new employment center that will add another 400. It is evident that the job market is looking much more optimistic now. Detroit at Work, the city's workforce development ecosystem, has introduced programs such as Learn to Earn, Skills for Life, and JP Morgan Chase to assist residents in battling unemployment and help to connect employers with candidates of all levels of experience, education, and specializations. Startups are also becoming major players in the Detroit market, with high-profile companies such as streetwear giant StockX, as well as Canopy, Autobooks, and the Guard Hat Technologies, all originating from Detroit. The city is once again gaining approval from the masses as a place of invention and positive change. In terms of the housing market, Detroit has had some of the highest home appreciation rates in the country, with an increase in home value of 23.7%. According to Zillow, they are expected to rise by further 2.1% from July 2022 to July 2023. This is a clear indicator of a recovering economy. As real estate continues to thrive in Detroit, many have chosen to invest in homes in neighborhoods such as Rosa Parks, University West, West Village, and McDougal Hunt South. With a growing entrepreneurial spirit, a real estate market that is increasing in value, and a startup scene that is beginning to flourish, Detroit is once again establishing itself as a hub of innovation and business. Accompanied with strong culture and extraordinary local art scene, there is no better time to consider Detroit as a place to live. Now we want to know what you think. Do you believe that Detroit is making a comeback? Would you consider moving here yourself? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. See you next time.